I actually lived with my grandfather very briefly after my parents got married. I was one of 8 children, and when I was 14, my youngest brother was born. I loved children, and I knew very well that when I was married someday, I wanted to have a large group. 3 winged skulls, 1, 2, and a third one over here, because I am buried in this grave with my 2 newborn babes. But I don't want to be sad. I want to tell you about my wonderful life, and I'll tell you about my lovely twins in a moment. So when I was 22 years old, I married a wonderful man. His name was Thomas Bryant.
We signed up, and the town paid us a bounty for doing so. We went to Camp Meigs in Reedville, which is just outside of Boston, and we were trained there for 5 weeks.
I battled alcoholism my whole life, but I still produced a lot of work. I really hit my peak in my 50s and 60s. The movie The Swimmer with Burt Lancaster was made of my short story The Swimmer. I dried out, got sober, and had a great last few years of my life.
My husband was from a distinguished family of judges. He was the only member on the King's Bench who publicly supported independence. After the Revolution, my husband continued to serve as a judge. He's probably most famous for the ruling he made in 1783, which made Massachusetts the first state to abolish slavery. In 1789, when George Washington became our first president, I attended his inaugural reception. I kept the beautiful dress I wore for the rest of my life. President Washington nominated my husband to the Supreme Court. So at the time, Supreme Court justices rode a circuit that extended all over the East Coast. I accompanied my husband on his travels, traveling by horse-drawn phaetons accompanied by 2 servants and all of my luggage.
One day, when I was 17, in October, my father told me to cut down the maple trees, but I had had enough. I wrote a letter that said "Gone to War," attached it to a maple tree stump with my axe, and ran away to Boston to enlist. I sent home a photograph of myself in my uniform, and before I was sent off to a ship to Virginia, and then marched to the front lines of Petersburg, and even into firefights with rebel soldiers. Still, by my letters, I kept in contact with my family and told them about my experiences. They could tell that I was homesick and missed them.
The wrecks that I've explored, the piece of a trunnel. Okay? Trunnel. It's spelled what? Trunnel. Tree nail. Who said that? Go to the head of the class. All right. And what kind of wood would they use as a wedge?
After he died, I applied for a widow's pension because of his service. About 5 years later, I married Parmenas. Parmenas had a son from a previous marriage, which was great because I could finally become a mother, even if it was just a stepmother. We were married 22 years, and then he also passed away. I became a widow for the 2nd time, which was okay for me because I wanted to be an independent woman.
And back in 1864, there wasn't a lot of food to feed the rebels. And there was even less to feed their prisoners. He didn't come back either. And we don't know what happened to him. He may have escaped. Some of them were able to join the rebel army, try and escape from there to get out of the prison camps. But whatever happened to him, we don't know.
I am the spirit of Eleanor Norris, and this is her gravesite here with a rather unusual gravestone, which I will explain. It came from the foundry where her husband worked. Daughter. And I knew my mind. While I was not willing to disobey my parents, I knew I loved Albert and I